Welcome back for another episode of Strive for 25. Joel Farrell here, and I'm looking forward to sharing with you our. Welcome to another episode of the Strive for 25 podcast. I've got an amazing guest today, Demarco Anderson. He was in Houston, Texas, and he is a real estate investor and working a full-time job in the IT industry. And want to dig into his story, somebody I've known for a bit now, and looking forward to having you on now. So Demarco, give our listeners a little bit of a background on who you are.
Hey, thank you for having me, Joel. Hey guys, like you said, I'm Demarco Anderson out here in Houston, Texas. Real estate investor, and also I do IT for a living. So I'm trying to get money multiple ways, multiple streams of income. So the backstory is I bought my first property maybe 2019, and since then I bought 3 more properties. I have one in Charlotte, and I have 2 here in Houston, and I'm actually about to buy another one here in Houston. One of the things that got me into real estate is, man, I do a lot of listening. I do a lot of browsing on social media, and I just hear a lot of people talking about the trucking industry and real estate. So I bought my home. I was tired of renting. I bought my home, and one of the main things I did was when I sold my home, and I made $75,000 off of it. That let me know there's money in the real estate business. I put $10,000 down, and in return, I got about $65 in profit. So that let me know renting wasn't what I wanted to do because I didn't get anything back once I left. So basically what I'm doing now is, man, buying is the extra income that I have. I will use that income to put down payments on homes. I know some people like to borrow from their homes and that type. The debt one of the things that scared me about that is just having to pay them that money back. Even if I take my equity out of my home, I have to pay someone back. So I would rather have all my equity when it's time to get it out. So I would rather not take that out and just use my own money. So yeah, I work multiple IT jobs. So what I do is I use one of my IT jobs to fund everything I do in real life. And the rest of it, I just put up in the bank to save to buy properties. So that's where I'm at with it.
Okay. So there's a lot to unpack there. So the real estate journey, you mentioned a couple different properties in different locations. The main job in IT, and then also another main job, I guess you'd say, in IT. And that first property that you ended up selling, when did you buy that first one?
I think I bought it in end of 2018, 2019.
Okay, so that was the first one. And then when did you sell that one?
Maybe 2021.
Okay.
21.
Okay. Cool. So when you sold that property, did you buy anything else besides that along the way, or did you sell?
Yeah, at that point, I already had another property.
You already had another property. Okay.
It was like, so for me, it was, I should have, honestly, now that I think about it, I probably should have kept the property. But it was just like, I saw there was money left in it. When I saw that how much the house was worth, I was like, oh, there's a lot of money here. And first thing I thought about was taking the money out.
Yep.
And now I don't sell any of my homes, I keep them. So it's just like, I'm looking at the longevity of it, of actually, if 15 years from now I decide to sell my homes, just imagine how much money is in those homes now. So that's more of my journey with it now. I'm more of, hey, 15 years, I can sell these homes and they have $200,000 or $300,000 of equity in it. And it's just like life changing. So that's what has me in this real estate, because I see that future in having that money when I need it.
Totally.
Yeah.
So you mentioned trucking and real estate and social media and listening to stuff online. Was there a turning point or something along your journey that got you thinking about those things in the first place? Was it a friend or family, or just happened? Like, how did you even get into thinking about that in the first place, the real estate stuff?
Well, where I'm from, it's not a lot of people that have homes, so I didn't know a lot about buying homes. I just was renting for so long. But social media, I hear people talking about buying homes and how it protects your future. This how you can pass homes down to your kids and things of that nature. I have a son, so for me, it was just like, I can buy this property, and as I pay it down, it's paying my mortgage down. If I'm renting, it's not paying anything down. Once I leave, I'm not getting anything. So if I'm gonna stay here, everyone has to stay somewhere. So why not stay in my own place and pay that mortgage down? So at the end of the day, when I pay this home off, this home is mine. opposed to I can pay rent for 30 years. Doesn't matter how much I pay, that's going to still be their place. So
yeah,
that's kind of like, so the turning point was, I mean, for me, I didn't know what I was doing when I bought my first home. I just thought as an adult, that's what I should have done. I mean, I'm old enough, I got some money, so that's why I did it. But then when I seen me make that money off of it, then that was real life. It was more of real life when someone deposited $75,000 in my account for that. It's like, oh, this is real. So then after that journey, I mean, because it's only 2000, what is it, 23? This is the second month of 23, and I bought 3 homes since I bought the first home, and now on a journey of buying another home. So that's how serious it is. I'm buying homes at that rapid pace. That's how serious it was to me when I saw that money. So when I save my money, if I'm saving my money up to buy another property at all times, that's what I'm focused on, just buying, buying, buying.
Yeah. I mean, buying real estate, you know, the why behind it, what's the purpose? And you're talking about how you saw the first property be able to go up in value and pay down the mortgage and have some equity build up over time. And
Right.
then you purchased a couple other ones along the way. And, you know, we probably should have done this. I'm not sure. I mean, have you done any type of math of projecting 15, like you mentioned, 15 years down the road, like what that you meant, what does that project to be in terms of values going up and mortgage balances being paid down just on the couple properties that you already have right now? I mean, um, any guesses or?
I haven't done anything on it because at this point I haven't been that deep 15 years of paying. But I know me seeing what that home did within less than maybe like 2 years, I can only imagine what this home's going to do in 15 years.
Yeah.
Can only imagine. So,
yeah. I mean, because go ahead.
The main thing as well, like I'm staying in a home now, but I have we're going to be 3 homes that's going to be rented out. So it's been rented. So someone else is paying, like the thing I didn't want to do, someone's doing for me. So I didn't want to pay rent. So I have someone paying that rent and also paying my property down for me. So I'm not paying anything. And if I sold it, look how much money I could possibly make off of it without even doing anything. Like I'm not staying there. So in 15 years, I haven't paid a mortgage there out of my own pocket. And I just can sell it and no telling how much money I make off of it at that point in life. So that's the exciting part about buying real estate.
Yeah.
I'm not even paying. I'm not paying anything on that mortgage at all. But if I decide to sell it, all that mortgage they gave me and whatever it's worth, I get that money back.
Yep. The property in North Carolina. So you purchased that one as a primary residence, right?
Yeah.
And then relocated to Houston along the way. Purchased that next one as a primary residence and then turned the old one into a rental, right? So that next purchase, do you remember how much you put down on that one? 5%, 10%.
Yeah, 5. First house was 10,000. The second house was 18,000. The next house was 27,000, and the next house was 36,000.
Okay. And so being able to purchase as a primary residence, you know, in that short period of time, all the things kind of worked out because you were kind of scaling up and getting a little bit of an upgrade on the property, which is kind of part of the underwriting guidelines. And then being able to turn the old one to rental. And then because you and I have talked about this, you know, many times, you know, having that lease on the property that you're departing, as a lender, we can use that to be able to offset the payment to also help your income ratios. And then, you know, you doing the multiple jobs, right? Obviously, I think you're working a lot of hours and that's exhausting.
Definitely.
And you've been doing that for how long now? How long have you been doing not just one full-time job, but more than that? How long have you been doing that?
About 2 years.
About 2 years. Yep.
Yeah. I'm almost done with it, but it's just like, that was just my hustle. Like once I kind of felt that money I got out of home, that was like a taste of money. So it's like, you can get a lot of money in a short time. I'm young now, so I can still work. I mean, I want to retire by 45 or something like that. I want to retire at 65. So I know I got to do a lot of work at this young age. That's going to extended hours, but hey, it's going to be worth it in the long run.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up because that's just something that's becoming more and more common for people like us, people younger or older in this mindset of thinking, you know what, like the job that I'm working, you know, I'm building somebody else's future. And what if something happens to me? What's going to be my exit plan, my retirement plan? what happens if I don't get to 65, or what something happens to my health or whatever.
Right.
And, being able to get out when you want to get out sooner or later, and having that lane working for you, that's
Right.
exactly why we're here talking about this, because so many other people maybe not even thinking about this, don't even know that it's possible. And especially right now with home prices going up and rates have gone up in the last, 15 months or so. So it's making it harder and harder for the everyday person, maybe earlier on in their journey, to be able to get into the game, as
Right.
rates have gone up. The cost of living has gone up as well. And so, but getting in the game, like you've done, you saw some successes along the way and wanted more and more, but getting in the game gives you, that foot into the
Yeah,
door to be able to
definitely.
let time work for you.
Definitely.
Um, so, you mentioned listening to some different things online, social media. Does anybody come to mind? Any names or podcasts or YouTubes or anything specific that comes to mind of people that you've been following?
No, you know what? So Instagram, I guess they're just monitoring your phone. So when you look up certain stuff, the next thing you know, you're on Instagram is on there. So a lot of the things I look at is business stuff. So all that stuff is just I don't know who the people are. It's just for me, but I have time to listen. That's for sure. If it's about getting some money, I do have time to listen. So I just listen to a lot of things they say on there, and it's just like okay, that makes sense, and it's just stored in my brain. And it was just like that was a no brainer though to me. It's almost like I don't know why more people don't do it. I don't know if they don't have the funds to do it, but it's a no brainer to me to hear why would I pay rent somewhere? To me, it
Yeah.
just don't make sense to pay rent anywhere if you can afford to buy a home. It just don't make sense.
Yep.
It
Yeah.
just basically investing in yourself basically because it's like I, you have to stay somewhere. So why not spend the money on something that's considered yours? So that's just
Totally.
where I'm at with it. At this point, it's a no brainer. So
Totally. So getting into your field, the IT background you have, what are some of the things that you're able to do to be able to get into that field, requirements, certificates? What are some of the things that got you into that field to be able to generate that income?
different certifications. I mean, with IT is a growing industry right now. It's really growing, and a lot of people are getting into IT. So, I mean, just certain certifications. You got a lot of classes, online courses that are free. Some that are very cheap. I mean, these certifications you get just to get in IT, and it's one of the things about IT is I work remotely, so that's what allows me to work multiple jobs when it comes to the IT field because I'm working remotely, and so I feel like IT is gives you an opportunity to do multiple things at one time, opposed to like a lot of these 9 to 5 jobs, you're in the office and you're constantly working. A lot of times with IT, you're putting out fires. So you're not just constantly working all the time. At least that's what I've endured with my jobs. I don't just constantly work. I mean, you have downtime. Sometimes I got to put out problems and knock that out. So I have the bandwidth to work multiple jobs. So
That's awesome. We had somebody, actually I had somebody on the show yesterday, who hasn't aired yet. His name is Paul Britton, and he's in literally the Arctic. He's a police officer for the Canadian, police force or whatever. And, you know, talking about, like, I was asking him, hey, is real estate investing, is that something that's a big part of the culture? What, pros and cons, and, how do people look at you, and doing that? And he talked about how, he doesn't really like to talk to many people about it because people kind of have their own opinions and naysayers and things like that. And, in his field, specifically the police officers, he doesn't really know anybody, that's doing the real estate game, and they look at it as being risky. And for police officers that are out there risking their lives, he's like, it's kind of interesting that, like, they're risking their lives and we're risking our lives, et cetera. But then from a financial standpoint, in real estate side of things, they are more risk averse when it comes to finances, I guess you'd say. And
right.
in your field in IT, the type of person that would be good at it, the demographics, in terms of just like the skill set and personality types. Um, are there other people that that are in your field, that have the same vision and purpose with the real estate side of things and passion with real estate?
No, not anybody that I've come encounter with. Well, I know one person that does IT that has one other property. I mean, it's just she's not working multiple jobs either. I guess the only thing about when it comes to real estate, you got to have some type of money because they're going to require some type of down payments. They're not just going to just hand you a home. So it depends on like my thing was saving the money was because I wanted real estate. That was my main objective of working my butt off and saving the money was because I wanted to buy another home. I wanted to keep buying homes. So my goal is like every year buy a new home. So that's just where I'm at with it.
Yeah. I mean, and again, that kind of goes back to the reason why we're talking about this is that, I get it. I got into real estate and some things happened for me. It's like, oh, well, that happened. Now I want more of it. This good thing happened. Now I want more of it. Even despite some of the failures and struggles. And, the people that we're talking about, that people have access to real estate. If you've got money, you've got credit, and you've got income, and you get qualified, and you have the desire and want to be able to get in the game, the game is open to anybody. Literally, it's open to anybody. But not everybody is aware of it, understands the why or the potential, the power of real estate. And obviously there are risks involved too. And that goes with the game.
Anything comes with a risk. I love it. So,
and that kind of goes back to, being able to kind of control the controllables. I mean, you're out there doing several jobs and stockpiling the cash that you can to be able to minimize risk for down the road. And if you can, purchase the next one and the next one. So, I mean, why don't more people do it? Is it an information situation? Is it a
information? And I've conversed with people that just feel like a house is just so much to handle. I guess people don't understand that you can buy warranties for your home. You have insurance. So if anything happens, it's no different from an apartment. You might have to pay a fee, but once again, it's yours. So if your refrigerator goes out, I have American Home Shield on all my properties. Call American Home Shield, $75. They're gonna come fix any problem with this refrigerator, wash machine, dryer, just all this stuff, your plumbing, all that stuff is protected. Like, definitely advise people to protect their stuff. So I think a lot of people worry about cutting grass. Like, I'm out here in Houston, I got a huge yard out here on the golf course. I pay $35 every 2 weeks for someone to come cut my grass.
Right. Yeah. If you're working, the last thing you want to do is get out there and cut the grass.
Right. It's a huge yard. $35. They come in this neighborhood and they do that. So it's just like, I think people think that a home is more responsibility than what it really is. Because there's no difference if your apartment floods, you still got to get out of it. You still got to find you stay. So if your refrigerator goes out, you still don't have anywhere to put your stuff in the apartment. So it's kind of, I think that's kind of the scary thing with people. They just think that a home is way more responsibility than what it really is. Or just, and it's what you don't know either. I don't think a lot of people just want to say, I don't want a home because of this. Even if you don't, to me, you want to own a home, whether you're staying in it or not. That's still generating, someone's still paying that mortgage down for you to, if you want to sell it eventually, all that money still comes back to you. It's kind of like a savings account to me. Because I put the money down, but I know that money is in the home. So when I decide to sell the home or whatever I decide to do with it, that money's coming back. It's just they're holding it for me. That's just all it is.
Yeah. And the time frame piece of it too. I mean,
and it's drawing interest. Basically, it's drawing interest.
Yeah.
My money's drawn by just sitting there with someone paying my mortgage down. It's just drawing interest. So when not only do I get my money back, but I get a return on that money. So.
Totally. Yeah. And like you mentioned before about, well, what if I would have kept the first property longer? We've had recessions in this country every however many years. You can go back over 100 years and there's been plenty of recessions. And, when you look at the data for housing prices, the average housing prices, and then, you line it up with where the recessions are, housing prices every single time have either stayed flat or actually gone up through recessions, except for one time. And that was the 08-09 crash, where the crash was because of the housing issues with the lending part of it. Right. So it's like, there are downturns in the markets, but if you hold long enough, it typically recovers and will recover. And, buying in the right places, buying in the places that are going to be, have good demand for rent, buying properties that you can add a little bit of value to as well. And definitely risks in real estate, but also from a long-term perspective, it's risky not to do it if you right. don't want to work to 65,
Because now you got to think about it. If you didn't buy 5 years ago, look how much it's changed now. Look at the interest rates. Homes have went up so much now. So it's just like, the sooner the better. It's not going to stop going up. So the sooner the better to get.
So the way that you look at your life, right? Like you got into the real estate game, you got your jobs, you got your family, you got your son. Um, when you go back 4 years versus today, um, any shifts on how you look at things in terms of, finances, life, relationships, all that?
Totally different, man. It's just, I mean, I'm just in a better place in life. I'm just in a way financially in a way better place where it's just not so much worried about paying a mortgage or so much worried about buying things that I'm able to buy what I want at. So it's a whole different view on life now. It's just I didn't know this was out here. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like about research, networking, all that stuff will get you in a better place in life, man. You don't know everything. So just talking to people that know more than what you know and just taking in what they tell you. That's all. I mean, I think, people just say it's not what you know, it's who you know. And for me, it's kind of like the who you know can tell you what you need to know. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like me listening to people, and I listen. I do a lot of listening and storing, and then I implement it in my own life. If it makes sense, if it goes with my life, I implement it in my life. So I'm not afraid to listen to what somebody's saying or take a risk. That's what it comes with. So
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, you know, when I look at some of the statistics that are out there, when I think 50% of working adults have less than $1,000 saved, um, so there's a lot of people that are struggling or just getting by, and there's a lot of reasons that go into that, and not probably for this podcast, in terms of the racial divides, the people that were held back, investment in certain things. I mean, the school system alone is a joke in terms of the in the divided amount of funding that's going into some of the different school systems in certain areas of cities. And so, um, at the end of the day, when we talk about building wealth, getting ahead, and saving money, for most people, there's nothing to cut, right? People have rent and cars and credit cards and groceries and gas and all these things. There's not much to cut. But there are people out there right now that are doing things creatively to be able to generate more income. And
right.
Your example is a perfect one. There's other people that are doing things like consulting, social media, affiliate marketing, online, all kinds of things, DoorDash. And so at the end of the day, there are things out there that are available to be able to generate more income. And that's kind of part of I want to have people like yourself on here is, you're taking the information and you're acting on it, you're moving on it and doing things successfully, which is amazing. And the more that we talk about this stuff, I think the more commonplace, because like you said before, on scrolling on Instagram, you scroll on Instagram, you talk about real estate and it's popping up stuff, right? The more that we talk about generating more income and people that are doing things on the side. I mean, if I give a story all the time, it's like, okay, this person that I know that was making $40,000 a year had no savings, had nothing to cut, and he goes and gets a job making an extra $1,000 a month and plows it into savings. Now he's saving like almost 20% of his income by just adding in an extra piece of income. So it's all relative. The more we talk about this stuff, I think hopefully the more opportunities can pop up in connections, and who may be able to point you in the right direction.
Another thing,
yeah.
So when you're renting your homes out, you're going to get more than what your mortgage actually is. Like I've never been in this place where I got less than what my mortgage was. It's usually $300 to $500 more, depending on the rental rate in the area. But that's what I observe is usually $300 to $500. That's extra money for you.
Totally.
Whether you want to put it towards a principal to help pay it down, or whether it can help pay a couple of bills for it. That's just extra money.
Right. So. And what's cool about that though too is that from a lending standpoint, you're locking in that 30-year fixed rate, and it pretty much stays the same unless taxes or insurance go up, but rents will go up as inflation carries on, and rents will go up over time too. So, time, if you're just getting in the game, letting time work for you, as some of these things, will work for you. So at this moment in time, you mentioned, looking at potentially at the next house as a next target. Are there any other targets or goals you have for 2023?
Well, I'm actually I want to open up a hookah lounge, like a restaurant hookah lounge / bar here out here in Houston. I actually just looked at the building we're late on this podcast due to me looking at that building. I found the building down in a great area close to downtown in Houston. And I mean, I gotta talk to the realtor, ask him a few more questions about it. And I'm looking to go in business with a cousin, open up my own hookah spot. So yeah, that's
awesome.
kind of where I'm at. But once again, we're gonna still keep that at least one IT job though.
Right. Right.
Keep at least one IT job while we're doing what we're doing. So yeah.
Yep.
So that's this year.
Cool. So one property, maybe even a hookah lounge, which is pretty cool. From for viewers out there that don't know the Houston market that well, what's kind of the lay of the land, the areas that you are buying in, and kind of the demand for rent, right? Like what are the proximities? So why did you choose those areas in terms of location?
So I'm in Cypress. I bought a home downtown close to the medical center, a townhouse, and that's the one that I was Airbnb-ing it for a while, but now I'm renting it out. I'm gonna get about $300 more a month for that home. The next home is also gonna be in Cypress, Town Lakes, which is a nice area here in Cypress. That's why I'm looking about the next home in. So it's about 5 minutes from this home. So just a point. So the home I have is about 4,000 square feet. I pay $2,200 a month for it, in mortgage wise. Next door, the home is smaller than mine. The people are renting that home. They're paying $3,500 a month for rent. So that's just to let you see that I have a mortgage that I'm paying $2,200 for it. The people beside me in a smaller home is renting the home and paying $3,500 a month. So there it is. It's right there. So
yeah, and so kind of going back to that 4 years ago, right? Like time things will evolve, things change, prices go up and they go down, but over a longer period of time, you get in, you lock in that rate, lock in that payment, and prices will go up, rents will go up. So even today, where because you locked in that rate a couple of years ago, so maybe the rates are lower than what they are today. So but at the end of the day, people getting into the game right now, maybe rates are lower in a year and you can refinance to get to a lower rate.
Right.
But prices, I mean, based on the data that we're looking at, unless some major crash happens, there's just not a lot of inventory out there. So over 5-10 years or so, if you get into real estate and then you end up renting it out, I mean, the rents, if you can cover your payment, I mean, at the end of the day, long-term wise, you're going to be in hopefully in a decent spot. So, we talked about a lot of different things, how you got into the game. From a, we call this a paradigm shift moment, the why was this important for you to be able to get on this path? Why real estate? Obviously you can build wealth, but why is that important to you? What happened along your journey that changed the way you look at this and to make it so important?
Well, just looking around, just seeing people working at 60, 70 years old, to me, that was just like, I don't want to do that. So like I had to figure out what I wanted to do, what could help me retire early. Also having a son, I know I want to leave him something. I want to make sure he's in a good position when I'm no longer here. So that was part of like, I have a trust and he's the owner of my trust. So everything goes to him when I die. So if I pass away, everything goes to my son. And I just want to make sure that I'm leaving him in a good situation. I mean, not to go too on this podcast, but I feel like a lot of people, at least a lot of people from my background, don't make those same decisions. I mean, of thinking about your future. I think a lot of us live for the moment. I enjoy the moment as well, but I also know there's something bigger than the moment, and it's the future, because we all plan to live to whatever. We all want to live to 180, 80 to 100. We all want to live a long time, but you got to plan to live that long as well.
Yep. Yeah. And for listeners out there that may want to follow your journey, where can they find you on social media?
It's next_level me. So it's next_LEVEL me, ME.
Got it. Yep.
So yeah. Have a heck of a journey on there. I think I have all my properties on there, at least when I closed on them. So, and also you have my information. If anyone has any questions, I'm definitely here to answer any questions to make sure I enjoy helping people as well. I mean, I'm very passionate about about real estate because I know it's money here. I witnessed it. I've seen it with my own eyes. So I'm a firm believer that real estate is where it's at. So, yeah.
So they can message you on Instagram, find you next_level_me.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
That's awesome.
I mean, any questions?
That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, there's different people that are doing different things to try to be able to get ahead. And, the biggest thing that I had to learn from my own journey, especially when it comes to real estate, is I just didn't understand time. I didn't understand like how important just getting into the game, whatever it is, whether it be, especially social media. I started the whole journey in July and just doing it every single day, and I look at it in a different way. But real estate, when you fast forward the clock 5 years or 10 years, value is going up and someone else paying your mortgage balance down. It just opens up so many other doors that I didn't get it 10 years ago, and just getting into the game, taking that, it doesn't matter how high or how big or what the property, just getting into the game. It could be whatever lower price that may not make sense today, but if you get into the game, who knows what's possible, down the road. We're coming up on some time here at the end. Any other advice or words of wisdom that you would share with the audience?
I mean, just real estate, man. I mean, I know it's a lot of things you can do. I took real estate seriously, and it changed my life. Real estate changed my life. So I mean, that I'm gonna always push real estate. You ask me, real estate is what I'm gonna always push because I've seen what it's actually done for me. So that's where I'm at with it.
Cool. So we're definitely gonna have you on again later in the year or sometime down the road and check in on you on a couple of these things. But thank you so much for making time for us today, Demarco. Good luck with everything, and we'll be talking very soon.
I appreciate it, Joe. Thanks for having me.
All right.
All right.
Thanks, Demarco. Bye.